Merci beaucoup, Nino. Merci. Bienvenue tout le monde. Content de vous savoir à l'écoute. J'ai l'immense honneur aujourd'hui d'avoir avec moi une actrice vraiment super sympathique, super extraordinaire aussi, Victoria Yeates, qui est avec nous directement de l'Angleterre, qui est chez elle. Hello, Victoria.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being with us today.
You're so welcome. Really, really happy to be here.
We chat before being live, and we said we talked about the coronavirus, the pandemic, and I was asking you how did the things are going for you with all these things happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems to be getting back to normal. I hate saying that in the UK. That's the message that we've all got to sort of try and go back to normal. I mean, everyone's still wearing masks on the tube and things like that. Even though we don't have to, people are still wearing masks going into shops and things like that. But yeah, we've got, fantastic pieces coming out. There's lots of stuff happening. And that all seems to be, it seems to be happening in a good point within Omicron, within this part of the pandemic. We seem to be kind of like through that and able, because I just thought, will we have a premiere? Will we be able to do press? Because of the pandemic, it's like really sort of hampered everything being released. But no, it seems to all be happening. And Warner Brothers are amazing with their protocols. We're always tested at home as soon as we get there. So it's a very safe working environment.
Good. And you said you said to me that you were pregnant during the filming of the movie.
The whole film.
Yeah,
I was 9 weeks when I started, and 37 amazing. When I finished.
And with the COVID thing, you felt very safe.
I did. To be honest, I feel like I was in the best position possible, because it was nerve-wracking, being pregnant during the pandemic, and we were just so well looked after. Like I said, we had a nurse come to our house, and I mean, we really didn't. I think we only had to close very briefly compared to other sets. I don't know how we managed to keep going. So they must have been doing something right, and I felt very safe. You were tested as soon as you got there. The extras were tested, I think, twice a day. You had someone, this lovely guy, who constantly came around and cleaned the door handles. So it was, but the thing is, they have to be that careful because of insurance, because they can't, afford to have time off on a shoot. You can't. It's huge when you have to stop. You have to. If one person, I mean, we were all so careful because we thought we don't want to be the one to get caught. It's called track and trace. Yeah. So like, I wouldn't even go to restaurants or anything around when I was filming in case I got the alert that I had to, because with their insurance policy and everything, they have to really be strict and follow all the rules. So I really didn't go anywhere and do anything, because I thought, I don't want to be that person that everyone goes, oh, it was Vicky shut down. Vicky shut us down. Everyone looking at me, oh, you. So no.
You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be.
Nobody wants to be that person. So I was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So for your role of Bunty, you have to prepare or read, or how did you approach your role of Bunty?
I mean, I suppose because Bunty would have gone to Hogwarts, I immersed myself in watching all the movies and in like trying to imagine who she was and the magical family she would come from and what that would mean, like that kind of thing in preparation. So I had, Joe gave me a bit of a backstory, and me and Newt a backstory. So I knew where I was starting from. And then with David Yeates, we built on that. And because I knew I was going to be, when I auditioned, you know, I knew I was going to have a small bit in Grindelwald, and then it was going to get bigger. So I knew like the character was going to progress. So we did, you know, even though I was in only that one scene last time, we did a lot of character work and a lot of, you know, David's so open. He's such a great director. And he took on loads of my ideas. And, you know, and it was just from then really we started to build on her and how she felt about Newt. And then that's just progressed in this movie. I think sometimes when you go up for a part, you just sort of know who they are. And I kind of felt like that with her. And so, yeah, you just kind of click with someone. And she's, you know, and in this film, you see more sides to her. And yeah, she has a great part in this.
But I read somewhere that J.K. Rowling created a full backstory for your character.
Yeah.
Did she ask you some input about the way you envisioned?
No, not really. No, I mean, me and Eddie got sent the backstory. I mean, because she's got that incredible mind, hasn't? I mean, when you do watch the Potters, it's kind of got that Lord of the Rings thing going on, isn't it? This incredible world that's come from her head. So, you know, the backstory was there, and then character stuff is more where it comes into play with David. And as I say, he's so open. Like when we'd be filming, I'd say, "Oh, can I try that? Can I change that line?" Or me and Eddie have got an idea, and he's just so open and free, and it's great working with him as an actor, because sometimes you can do things and you're in a straitjacket and you can't change anything, whereas he's just all about the art and keeping it very authentic and truthful.
Yeah. But speaking of David, he created he directed 4 movies for Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Did he wanted to create something new with Beast, or he stayed near the previous universe?
No, I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of got, I feel like there was a bit more kind of that Scandi drama thing going on, because it's more adult, because it's not led by children. So you can have the kind of scenes that wouldn't have been in Potter. I mean, if you think in this film, between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, that's very adult, their relationship, and it's got incredible depth to it. And I think it might be my favorite scene of the whole film between him and Mads, because I mean they're just incredible actors, but it's almost like it could be in another movie, because it's real drama.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think this differs, because it can go into those kind of places because it's adults. And that, but then it's still got all like the wonderful fun Harry Potter stuff and all the magic, and honestly, I love this movie.
Yeah. We love it too.
You're gonna love it. You're going to love it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I've read too that you had the opportunity to hang around with J.K. Rowling. Can you just talk about those moments?
Yeah, she was very present on the last movie, and I hung out with her at the wrap party, and she was just really lovely, you know, and gracious and humble, and nothing, you know, nothing uppity about her or standoffish at all. She's just ever so grounded. Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody who is sort of as famous as her could be very different, but you know, and just very, like, she was there when I was shooting the last film, and just very open to ideas about the character, and talking, you know, could ask her whatever you wanted to. I found her really lovely to work with. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And then speaking of working with someone, you have worked with many talented actors.
Yeah.
And do you have a special connection with Eddie Redmayne?
I would say Eddie's probably one of the nicest people I've ever worked with.
Uh-huh.
And I think all my friends who've worked with him before I did this movie said the same thing. He is, and it's a weird thing to say, he's so well brought up. Like he's so polite. If he hasn't seen you for 6 months, he'll remember your last conversation and say, "Oh, how did that go? How was that?" Like he's very present with you. He's very interested. He's a very generous actor. He will always be there for your takes, you know, and give everything for your takes. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that.
Okay.
So and you know, if you've got an idea, he'd be like, "Oh, Victoria's," because you know, because when you first join a movie like that, you're a bit shy, and he'd say, "No, Victoria's got an idea, you know, let's and that's very gracious to do that." He's not trying to pull the limelight. He's a company player.
Yeah.
As a dude. Yeah, because I was just with the goodies mainly, you know, the goodie guys. And again, you know, just fabulous to work with. Yeah, really, really lovely. No, I mean, you just don't get any of that. There's no ego. There's no ego. It's just like very British, cups of tea, get on with the job, want to do your best, on time, know your lines. You know, they're a very good example of what film stars should be like, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of stars, you know, we all know that unfortunately Johnny Depp won't be in the next movie. Will you miss him? His energy, his his stars.
Yeah.
You know?
So I suppose I didn't have much to do with Johnny. I mean, I hung out with him, and he's always been ever so lovely to me and polite and really nice and very unstarry and very funny and charming. And but you know, that was just socially. Because I was with, and I wasn't really in that many scenes with him, so it didn't really affect me like it did other people who were, like it did his team, the Grindelwald team. They're the ones that would have felt that the most. Whereas for me, you know, apart from the end, apart from, you know, the finale, I wouldn't really have had much to do with Johnny. So, but you know, he was always very lovely when I spoke to him, you know. There you go. No comment. Another no comment. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I see. We're going to speak about Bunty a little bit.
Yeah.
One of your most important role is Sister Winifred in the BBC's Call the Midwife. This character is very caring, and so as Bunty. Is there an emotional bridge between those two roles, two characters?
Yeah, I suppose they're both very good people. They're both, and I think in this movie you'll see there are certain people who are pure of heart, and I would say they both share that. That are very trustworthy, innocent, just, you know, those people who don't have, my dad would say, you know, that person doesn't have a bad bone in their body. That's the emotional bridge between them, I would say. But then Bunty's a lot shyer and awkward, and obviously completely obsessed with Newt, which Sister Winifred, being a nun, didn't have a love interest. So that's a big difference. she's just, you know, she's completely besotted and in love with him, which is a huge part of her character. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, very, very sweet. But, you know, he doesn't have eyes for Bunty. They're definitely for someone else. Poor Bunty. She's got to have a love interest. She's got to have somebody. She can't have this unrequited love for the rest of her life. Poor Bunty.
Poor Bunty.
She's got better clothes in this film, though. That was good. Rather than my basement smock. Definitely gone up in the world in terms of attire. Yeah.
You've worked with in many productions. You've worked in the independent movies, and what is compared to working with special effects and big budget movies? How do you approach working into independent films versus big budget movies? You have the same vibe?
Yeah, to be honest, when you're one-on-one with an actor on set and the lights go on and everyone's completely quiet, you could be on an independent film or you could be on a soundstage with Warner Brothers. That sort of electricity and concentration and energy is the same on everything. Definitely. Okay. I love it. I love that moment where everything just falls away and it's just about this connection between two people and you're really communicating and talking, and that's the same on anything.
Even if you're surrounded by green screens and tennis balls, you have to figure
absolutely.
there's a creature here.
We had to do a lot of that. Yeah, we did have to do a lot of that. I don't know how you do it. You just cut through it. You just are present with the other actor and just pretend the tennis ball's a niffler. I don't know why, because the whole thing is make-believe. So it's just an extra layer of make-believe.
You have to believe it yourself. So
yeah. It doesn't, I don't feel any different, to be honest. Your intention's the same. I don't really think it matters what you see. You've got to look in the other actor's eyes. That's your focus. Listening and responding and connecting with that person. It doesn't matter if it's completely green around them or you're on a set. That doesn't make a difference, I don't think, to the performance.
And for the director, is it that different for him to work with actors? David worked a lot with you, with your character. Is there any differences between a director like David or any a director for an independent movie? Is the mood is different?
I suppose if you do an independent, there's far fewer people, so the director might be closer to you. Whereas when you're doing a big Warner Brothers thing, they're very far away and they've got their tents. But the thing is, David's very hands-on. So he'd come out of that and be with us after every take. And then we'd go and look at the shot and talk to him. He's a very kind of hands-on actor. I mean, trying to think that amazing thing he did for the BBC that I loved years and years ago. I mean, if I think of where he started and the kind of work he did, he's a very hands-on type director. But I imagine in Hollywood, there would be directors who would stay on their chair in their tent and you'd get the messages through the AD. You know, do this, do that. David's not like that. So there wasn't that much difference to it. It felt very intimate. David's a very intimate director and he likes all the acting to be very intimate and authentic. So
even if it's a big production.
Yes, absolutely. So that is his, and he creates that world where it's all focused on being present and that authenticity, which is why I love acting and why I love working with him, because that's the focus. But I know that my friends who've worked on other big things, different type of director. So it's a different experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did a lot of stage acting between your roles in the movies. What do you like the most when you are playing before an audience?
I mean, when you go on stage, you know that performance is only ever going to happen once. That moment's only going to happen once, and so there is an incredible electricity and adrenaline when you're on stage that you're never going to get on a set. It's different. There's a different type of adrenaline on a set, but not. I also think when you're on a stage, because you don't have the sound guy and all these other people, you're really free. You're free to move your body. You don't have to hit a mark. You can follow your impulses. You can try things out. There's no restraints like there are. And I do think that people talk about doing stage as the actor's gym. And I do believe that. I think that you get better from doing stage work because you have to have so much concentration. If you're on stage for 2 hours with that much dialogue, you know, if it's just you with somebody else, that's a huge amount of focus that you have to maintain. Emotional, you know, the emotional height of it has to be there. You're playing all these different things throughout a play. You have to think about the arc of the character. You've got to draw the audience into you. It's a conversation between you and the audience. They're actively participating with you in every moment. It's different.
Yeah.
And
you have to be,
never give it up.
You have to be in the character all this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the movies, when the take is over, you can be yourself.
Yeah. I mean, some people don't. Some people stay in character. But you know, they're a bit annoying. So
did you did you have some
well, not I've worked with some people. Yeah, I'm not that into it.
No.
Not really.
We all read that people like Heath Ledger, when he was playing the Joker, is in the character.
Well, maybe for a part like that you need to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Joaquin Phoenix, what did he do? Did he stay in character? I don't know. That was an incredible film. My God, Joker, that was an incredible film. But I think it can be annoying to the other actors.
Yes, and for the director too.
The director, because often actually I think some of the best work happens when everyone has a laugh. Everyone relaxes.
Yeah.
And because you're getting, you know, you don't know these people, you've got to get a relationship, you're going to be with each other. You know, if you're just in your tent, you come on stage and you come on the sound stage and you act and you go back, you've got no rapport with anyone. I don't know. I love being an actor because of the company spirit of it. And on this film, we had that. We all sat together. We were all there together all the time. And it was like Jude said it was like doing a rep. That's what we have in the UK. It was like being part of an acting company because we were all, and it does make it different. You're all in it together. You're sharing things about your lives with each other. You're together for a long time. And I think that helps me anyway, take more risks and be more vulnerable because I've got a rapport with people. I've got a trust. Yeah. And so if somebody was like always in character, I'd feel there was a big barrier between us. And I'd probably find that a bit difficult. I mean, I'm going to have to deal with that at some point, but I prefer not. I mean, I like having a giggle on set.
Yes.
I do.
But you played the Crucible on stage.
Yeah.
And it was a very demanding role for you.
Very
probably.
Demanding, very intense. Yeah, very intense. I mean, you know, I think it was a long tour. We did it for a long time. I was doing that. And then on my breaks, I was doing Call the Midwife. And on my breaks, I was doing Fantastic Beasts. It was a really intense year. And I was, so it was, look, your husband's being killed every day, sometimes twice a day. Yeah. And you have to be there and you have to, you know, break the end of the Crucible is her breaking down on stage.
Yeah.
And so every single time it has to be, you have to do it again, and it has to be truthful, and it has to be real. And it's odd because you just think, how can I do that? But when you're in that moment and you're present with that, it always came, because it was just so sad.
Yeah.
You know, and the writing's so fantastic. The writing, Arthur Miller's so incredible that you never get bored of that text. Every single time you'll find something different every single performance, because the text is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, again, like that's what helps you become a better actor, I think, is doing work like that. I absolutely loved it. I was completely ruined by the end of it, because I'd worked so hard that year.
Yeah.
But but like, you know, I was auditioning for Fantastic Beasts and then rushing to do a performance of The Crucible, and then we'd have a gap in The Crucible, and I'd have to do all of my Call the Midwife scenes in 2 weeks or something, and then go, yeah. So it was like, it's full on. But you know, sometimes, I mean, hey, lots of that, you know, I was lucky to have all that work, wasn't I? So
yeah.
well, you get the energy from somewhere. Lots of vitamin C, you know, those fizzy vitamin C things. I was just always having those. Keep me going.
But
Yeah.
speaking of intensity, is of all the roles you've played, what was the hardest scene you had to do?
I actually think it was. I actually probably think it was that the hardest scene between me and John at the end of The Crucible. Maybe it's just it's probably one of my favorite scenes, even if I hadn't have done The Crucible. I think that scene between her and her husband is absolutely perfect. Just her vulnerability, how she admits and breaks, you know, she's been such a hard woman the whole way through, and she opens and she says, like, I had a part to play in this. It's you know, and they connect, and it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
I mean, hardest scene, maybe it's not the hardest scene because it's so well written, it's just there for you. But you know, emotionally, you have to be at a very particular level always when you do that scene, but you can't push it. It has to be very simple and very truthful. And then, yeah, it's an amazing scene.
And it was on the stage, but in the movie, what was the hardest scene you had to do?
I think in Call the Midwife, I had this scene where I had to the storyline is that a woman comes to me for help, and I don't help her because I'm judgmental.
Oh.
And then she tries to have an abortion, and she ends up in hospital. And so Sister Winifred is shamed by not being Christian. And that scene, yeah, I had to kind of really fall apart. Yeah. So I reckon that would have been the heart, like, and also you remember, like, on the screen, sometimes, like on Call the Midwife, everything was shot so quickly, they might come and say to you, oh, like, we're actually doing that scene in a minute, go. And you've just got to be there, and you've got to do it. So you don't have that build like you do in theatre to get there, where it's an amazingly written play, you know, everything just arrives and you're just in that place and it all just happens. You know, in TV and film, you have to just create it in a second. Yeah. Everything else is going on around you, and they go, right, cry. You know,
that must be very difficult. Yeah.
So you have to have techniques.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to do that.
That's what you're paid for.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're paid for. Exactly. You know, you have to get to that. And I would say that when I'm doing a scene like that, I do keep to myself. When you're doing a scene like that, you do have to shut yourself away from everyone and not talk, and just keep in that place and try and say to the AD, like, can you make sure nobody talks to me? Because you have to get yourself in the place and then go on that set and completely be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you work with the BBC for a miniseries, and you worked in the movie. Is the pacing the same thing in working in a miniseries or a movie?
Like Call the Midwife, we did. I mean, you work far longer hours. We did 8 pages of script a day. Sometimes you shoot the rehearsal take. I mean, it's like fast. Fantastic Beasts. Maybe a page, half a page a day.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Film is
God.
completely different. Film is completely different. You have way more time in film, which means that, you know, it's easier really to get a better performance because you're got so much time. Whereas on Midwife, like, you get the script in the morning, or you get given the script, all the script changes just before you went on, and you just have to learn everything.
Okay.
And go, yeah, very different.
Okay.
Or you get the script the night, you know, you finish at 8. You're reading the script for the next morning. You're up at 5 in the car on the way home and trying to learn it for the next day. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's completely different.
Okay.
Whereas a film, normally, and there weren't really that many script changes. If there were, you got them way ahead, and they were pretty slight. Yeah. It's like, it's really different. Yeah.
Is it all the same for all the miniseries? Like a Game of Thrones, is it like the same?
I don't know. I reckon probably something like Game of Thrones that's got a bigger budget would have more time.
What?
It depends on budget. You know, it was a BBC show. However successful it is, and it is one of the most successful shows in the world. It's amazing, isn't it, really? You know, they still have a certain budget. So it's very different to doing something like an HBO. I think if you do an HBO, something like that, Succession, I imagine it will be shot more like a movie. Not as slow as a movie, but a lot more time, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You played Elizabeth Jackson in A Discovery of Witches. Do you enjoy playing characters in the more fantasy world, like Fantastic Beasts? Also,
I mean,
you know,
I'm pretty into all that stuff, I must say. I'm pretty into magic and fantasy. I love Star Wars. I love Indiana Jones. I love, you know, yeah. So I would say, yeah. Actually, Discovery of Witches, we had loads of time to shoot that. Apart from all our storyline got cut though. So so the director called me up and was like, I'm really sorry, but it's lots of, basically it's all gone. I was like, okay, that hasn't happened to me before, but you know, there's not, it's gonna happen. I think someone told me Adrian Brody went to a premiere of a film he did and he wasn't in it anymore. I mean, that stuff happens. Yeah. So, but I loved working with that director I'll work with her again. You know, you and the production company are brilliant. They do really fantastic work. It came about because so Deborah Harkness, who writes that, is a big fan of Call the Midwife.
Okay.
And so we hung out together, and I've got a friend who's in Discovery, which is Tanya, and we hung out together at an awards ceremony. And she was like, I'm such a big fan of Call the Midwife. I'd really love for you to be in the show. And so that's sort of how it came about. And in the books, the witches have a much bigger part. So there is like a much bigger storyline for them. But unfortunately, I mean, because I was there for weeks and we did, you know, there were in quite a lot of episodes. It's just how it happens. Okay. Yeah. But it was a good experience. But the thing is, you don't have control over that kind of thing. You don't have control over the cut. You know, Fantastic Beasts, I think I only had one scene cut, which is great. But, you know, I've got a lot of, you know, things get cut. And that's the movies.
Yeah,
Got
that's the
no control
industry.
over it. It is, yeah. You
Yeah.
just have to let it go. You're not going to have control over the edit. I've got friends who've worked with Mike Leigh for 6 months of their lives and not been in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just how it is.
Yes, there's
But
actors that.
I do love fantasy. I've always been really interested in the occult, and yeah, that, like, growing up doing tarot cards and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would be probably maybe drawn in some way. But then, I'm really interested in psychology. So I really like things that are just really simple about relationships. Yeah.
And is there a dream role you want to play in your career? Is there a kind of character you want to play?
Yeah, I suppose Lady Macbeth, that's kind of cliche, but I would like to play Lady Macbeth. I think it's a really hard character. I think it's something as an actor you should do in your life. I think there are certain parts that while you're here on this mortal coil, you should play. It will make you a better actor. And I mean, really, I'm really into the American series like Succession and the Ozarks, and I think both Succession and the Ozarks, especially, have got really brilliant female characters, really strong, complicated women.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested in doing something like that. Characters that keep you guessing. You think you know them and then you don't. That are good and bad and messy and human. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of role, and do you have somebody you absolutely want to work with once in your lifetime?
Oh, so there's going to be loads of people. Can I have more than one?
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett. That would be Kate Blanchett. Yes.
Okay.
Judi Dench. Judy, of course.
Yeah.
Incredible. After having watched the morning show Billy Crudup.
Yeah. Yes.
I think he's absolutely incredible in that series. Absolutely incredible. It's a remarkable performance. It's so layered and textured and interesting and surprising.
Yeah.
And bold. Yeah. Maybe him right now. Just to be near him, see how he does it. Watch him. I mean, and Call the Midwife. Look, I got to work with some of my heroes I grew up with watching. I really was lucky. Yeah, like Harriet Walters, Linda Bassett, Jenny Agutter, Judy Parfitt. I mean, I really got to work with people I'd idolized growing up, going to watch in the theatre, watching on TV. Pam Ferris, I was like a sponge. Asking them questions. I wanted to learn everything from them. The same, working with Jude Law. He's been one of our most famous actors my whole life. I think he's a brilliant actor. So I was very closely watching him and his process and what he does. It's
so you're already lucky to have worked with all those many magnificent people.
I really am. Yeah, and very, very grateful. And that's how you learn. You have to be open and humble and absorb it all. And Call the Midwife was I've made some of my best friends on that show. We're still my best friends. I love them with all my heart. It was we all went through a lot of stuff together on that show. We saw each other all the time. Marriages, divorces, deaths, children, all the big stuff.
Yeah.
We went through it all together.
It's a big family.
And it's a big group of women. And a big group, lots of older women, which is rare. Loads of incredible parts for older women. And for women who don't fit, the normal roles in casting. So we got to be together all the time, and it's great.
Yeah. I remember Jenny Agutter from An American Werewolf in London.
I mean, what a film star. Jenny's just gorgeous. She's just gorgeous in every way. And she knows so much about filming. She grew up in front of the camera. So she knows how the lighting works, the set, the angles. You know, we have a lot of different directors coming in with people that remain the same. So she knows how it all works. She can see how the whole scene's got to be. And she's very, very astute on camera. Very good at directions through London if you're sharing a car with her as well. She knows all the best routes to avoid the traffic. She's always like, which way are you going? Well, actually, you should be going that way. Yeah, yeah, she knows the way. Maybe she was a black cabbie in another life because she's very good.
She's a human GPS.
She is. Yeah, I'm gonna tell her that. Yeah.
You've said something that working in a miniseries, you have to work a lot with a lot of different directors for each episode. Is it hard to get the emotion and with a different director and different approach, or is it difficult to always renew not the cast but the leader?
I mean, the thing is, you're just still playing your character.
Yeah.
So you just keep playing your character, and sometimes you might get a great director, and that's amazing. And I've worked with incredible directors on the show. Sometimes you get a director you don't connect with.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. And you just keep fighting your corner and playing your character and find a way to connect with them. And I think when I went to RADA, we had to work with so many different directors, and they all work completely differently. They made us work with every different medium, Stanislavski, Meisner, or whatever it was, all these different directors. And they said, it's your job when you leave here, you've got to connect with them. They're not going to change how they work for you. You've got to find your way in to get your best performance. And so I didn't really I've never had a problem with that. I just sort of find a way.
Yes. And do you have in mind to yourself one day go behind the camera as a director, as a writer? Or?
I'm writing a film with a friend at the moment. And I've been producing some things. So that's something that's been happening on and off for quite a while. But because I've obviously had a baby, everything's on hold a bit.
Yeah.
Because there's no time. But yeah, definitely. Definitely writing, creating.
What is the team? Is it? Can you tell us about it really. Or not?
No, but it's a film. I've just got bizarre for some reason. I've got a lot of friends who are producers and who work in film, so it's just that's kind of the medium that. And I watch a lot of movies, so that's I like that. I like that structure. It's more like a play, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Okay. We will see what you will give us in the future. A lot of people ask us to ask you. Can you explain what a typical day of shooting Fantastic Beasts was like? A typical day on the set?
So you get picked up about 5 a.m. You get to set. Lovely man will come and give you a cup of coffee.
Not a cup of tea? Not tea?
Not for me. Coffee, always. I'm a bit of a coffee addict. And then go into makeup. Then you come out. People come and help you get dressed so that you don't ruin your costume. My lovely costume lady, Riri, who became a very good friend. I knew her from Call the Midwife. You know, I'm just one of those people that gets things messy. I've just always have been like crumpled. So trying to keep me, steam me, keep me crisp. And then you've had breakfast and stuff, then everyone goes on set, and then everyone goes on to the stage with their sides. You have your little script that you have to sign out every morning and sign back in. It's very strict with Harry Potter, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Storyline, everything. So then you start to read through the scene, and talk about the scene, and you spend quite a while doing that and rehearsing it. And then everyone decides how they want to shoot. Then you go away and the actors kind of all hang out for a bit and gossip and chat and have more coffee. And then you get checks. You always have to go into these, on the sound stage, there's these like little tents that are set up for you to get ready in, and with those mirrors with the big lights. So you get your makeup checks, your costume checks, and then you go back on and you shoot on the same scene for days and days and days. From every different angle. You've got all the special effects. You've got to do all of the coverage. I mean, some of the scenes are so massive. You've got cameras on cranes. You've got, but for films like this epic and detailed, it's a lot of coverage.
Do you have stand-ins for you?
Well, I did because I was pregnant. But you do. People do have a stand-in, but I did because I was pregnant. So, but I would always be there. So just for the lineup, just for the lighting, for like the boring bit, you have a body double. He'll go and do that. And but obviously I'd always be there for a take.
Okay.
For the other actor to act with. Yeah.
Because we know sometimes actors will be there just for their when they're on camera. When they're not on camera, it's someone else.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think that's very good. You need acting's. You don't act on your own to act with somebody. That's how I act. I like to bounce off of somebody.
Okay. And as an actress, who is your inspiration?
Who's my inspiration as an actress? I wouldn't say I have like a person who's my inspiration. I'm just really fascinated by the human condition. I read a lot of philosophy and psychology books. I've read a lot of esoteric books, and I'm just really interested in why we are and how we are, and helping people find empathy within themselves for other people. There's normally a reason why people act in a certain way. And that's why I love acting. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I've read that as a child, you practiced ballet dancing.
Very big ballet dancer, yeah.
And is there any other artistic skills you have?
Singing.
Really?
Yeah. I did a lot of musical theatre when I was younger, and my husband had a psychedelic rock band. I used to, so I've sung with him. I sing. He composes. I sing for him. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've done 2 musicals on stage. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Do you still practice ballet, or you stopped when?
No, I don't practice ballet anymore. No, I mean, I do ballet bar, which is like it's like keep fit ballet. It's still doing a bit of ballet, but I have looked into it, but there's one place and it's really far away, and so no. But I loved it, and it was hard to pick between acting and ballet for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was giving up ballet.
Was it your parents that give you the choice?
Yeah, I started to do National Youth Music Theatre, and the director said, you should really do acting. And I suppose maybe because I'm really interested in reading, and character and psychology and all that stuff, I kind of thought there's probably more longevity for me as an actor. And being a ballet dancer is so hard on your body that it was like a decision of, you know, I think that's going to be a better direction. I'm sure my parents would have rather I'd gone, I'm going to be a doctor, not a ballet dancer or an actress. But yeah, I think, but you know, I loved ballet, and I've taken a lot of that with me, a lot of that movement work, understanding your body, how you feel things through the music in your body. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to do.
Cool, very cool. Okay, now, without spoiling anything, can you tell us about the next installment of Fantastic Beasts? What can we expect?
Secrets of Dumbledore.
Oh, yes.
You can expect, I think it's like Harry Potter meets Indiana Jones.
Oh.
It's epic.
Okay.
Maybe because of where it's set. What I really love about it is how, because the group of us are, you know, really fallible, bumbling sometimes people, it's very funny. It's very humorous and warm, because we're trying to achieve, you know, we're trying to save the world. So you've got this sort of epicness and the danger of what's happening, and then all the characters are really funny and charming, and you've got, I mean, lots of laugh out loud stuff, and it's got a lot more of the Potter, the really British Potter magic in it. Like, I don't want to spoil things, but just, you know, all those things we love from the Potter films that make it Harry Potter, and very, I don't know why I keep saying British. It feels more British. I think Crimes of Grindelwald felt more American. Maybe this feels like it's kind of come back to a lot of the reasons why we love Harry Potter. The characters, the relationship between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, you know, obviously we're all helping him, but you know, this film is about Dumbledore and Grindelwald and their past. And so it's very interesting. I mean, obviously about, you know, the Order of the Phoenix, and, you know, when you like these films, everyone loves to know the history of how everything happened. So you get, you know, certain things, Deathly Hallow vibes. You know, there's you know, there's it's really interesting to see, you know, there's the Blood Pact. So there's all this stuff that we've read about that we then get to explore in this film. So it's really exciting.
Have you seen the final cut?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah,
you had a screening with all the actors and the.
It was a private, a few people there, but it was really good, and I'm really, I will admit, I found the last film, it was like, had too many storylines, or I found it a bit confusing by the end. It's a bit like, yeah, for me. So I didn't feel like this about the last film. And then when I watched this, I just thought, this is brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
Okay, so you're very proud of this.
I am really proud. I'm really proud. I think I think David and the editor have done an incredible job. I think that it's got the you know, the more adult side of Fantastic Beasts that Harry Potter doesn't. So you've got these really interesting relationships and intimate moments, but then it's got, because of where you can go, you know, we go to Bhutan. That's where this whole Indiana Jones thing comes out, because it's just epic. And then you've got a lot of like the lovely Harry Potter. I mean, Bunty, I suppose, would be a very kind of quintessential Potter character. She's quirky and cute and funny, and so there's a lot more of that in this film.
Okay, so we're gonna dive deeper into your character in this this movie.
Yeah. But just in general, it's got that Potter magic sparkle in it. That it's just when all, you know, everything comes alive. It's just like things like, I'm just trying to think of something I just watched the other day, how they always have the messages hanging in the air, or all those little touches, which is why we love Harry Potter. That's all in this film. Yeah.
Oh, we can't wait to see this.
Yeah, honestly, it's brilliant.
It will be on the screen in which time? In which date?
8th of April for the UK, and then I think the 15th for America.
So it's pretty soon.
It's pretty soon.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool.
I really do think people are going to love it. Yeah.
All right. So we can't wait to see you again in the big screen.
Totally.
Speaking of this, do you have some future projects after this you can talk about?
Yeah, at the end of the year, I'm doing a horror movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's like a psychological relationship thriller.
Oh, can you tell us more, or what is the title? Was it?
No, I can't say things like that. Like, because I mean, the thing is, things like that can change.
Yeah. Okay.
After you shoot a film, but it's it's a really, really brilliant film. Husband and wife, psychological thriller, drama, horror. Yeah.
Are you a horror fan?
Do you know?
Yourself?
Yeah, it's become very popular recently, hasn't it? Especially the indie horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's become like a real. So yeah, I am. I don't mind going there. Then that. Yeah, it's all a bit of fun, a bit of magic, a bit of yeah. It's you know, heightened. That's the thing about film. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And we have a question. What is your all-time favorite movie or TV show?
All-time favorite movie would be, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose the Godfather trilogy, the Godfather 1 and 2. That's pretty classic.
Everyone is saying 1 and 2, not the 3.
I know, everyone. I know people don't say 3, because I could keep watching that again and again, and I do watch that again and again. Chinatown, would probably be
from Roman Polanski.
Yeah, definitely up there for me. And then series, I love Twin Peaks.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes.
I love Lynch. Yeah. And then like, I would say The Office.
Yes. The UK or the American version?
UK one.
Okay, you prefer Ricky Gervais at Steve Carell?
I do.
Okay.
It's because like it was a BBC thing, and I just love that kind of humor.
Yeah.
So like in this film, Fantastic Beasts, I did a little bit of improv comedy that they've kept in. I really love dry improv comedy. Like I love Succession. I love Greg in Succession and all his amazing little, I love that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good mix of things.
Yes, got The Godfather, the Office. Yes, I buy that.
Hey, just before we finish, we have a few questions from the chat.
Hi, Victoria.
Victoria, if you could have one of the fantastic animals as a pet, which one would it be?
Well, probably the creature that you're going to meet in this next film.
Oh.
The Chillin'.
Oh, I like it. I like to be teased like that.
Mystery.
Yeah. And I cannot say any more. But
of course,
yes.
You have to go to the movie to see why.
A question that's more technical on my side here. I think it's John. He wants to know, what's your take on AI and neurosciences? And what do you think about Elon Musk? Well, that's his question. What's your take about AI? Is this something that scares you?
Yeah, it is something that scares me. I think, I don't know. It is something that scares me. Maybe I'm old-fashioned or something, and I need to move with the times a bit more. But I, you know, I think that there's a lot about technology that can make people's lives better, and we can create AI to do things that aren't nice jobs that people don't have to do. So there is that, but I'm a bit more of a human person. keeping I don't know. I think keeping like, I think as well with social media, I would feel the same. I think we're losing our connection to people, and AI could be another expansion of that, and more removing from each other and from the earth rather than connecting with the planet and with each other. So there's something a bit ungrounded about it. It's being separate, more mechanical.
Less humanity.
Less humanity, yeah.
I have one last question from my daughter. She wants to know, her name is Alyssa, and she wants to know if you could have one magic spell that you could use every day, which one would it be?
Oh, which one would it be? Which magical spell? So, I mean, I'd love to just be able to do all the housework and all the cooking and cleaning. What spell is that? What spell is that? What spell is that?
No more.
Probably, what would I want to do? Oh, it's probably protection spell. I'm losing my what's the one that Harry does all the time? His stag, the Patronus.
Patronus, yes.
Yeah, I think especially like having just been through a pandemic and things like that, it might be quite handy to be shielded. And
yes.
I like everything about that spell because it uses the love in your heart and all the goodness in you to protect you. I really like that.
Oh, thank you.
And I have a spell now. That's telling us that the interview is over.
It's over.
So fast.
Thank you very much.
Magic.
You're charming. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And the next time that we talk to you will be live, I hope, in Montreal or in Quebec or wherever. You'll come and we'll get to chat in person.
Yes.
Like two humans face to face.
I
Cool.
know. You know, well, we've got all the junkets coming up. I do think like once this movie's out, I'm hoping everything opens up a bit more. Yeah.
I hope. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Merci, Pierre. Thank you, Pierre, for the great interview.